The number you just saw is not the GDP of a small nation. It is not the weight of a commercial aircraft. It is the confirmed mass of one animal, a single organism, breathing air, nursing its young, and currently alive somewhere in the Southern Ocean. Today, we are formally auditing the 10 largest animals ever to move through ocean water, ranked by verified mass, evaluated by anatomy, and corrected where necessary for decades of scientific exaggeration. Every figure on this list has been weighed against the current literature. Where popular science has inflated, we deflate. Where it has overlooked, we correct the record. No drama, no CGI, just the ledger. Entry number 10, Eubalaena australis, the southern right whale. Confirmed mass, 80 metric ton. Length, 18 meters. The colossus, those hardened, raised skin formations covering the head, are not decorative. They host entire ecosystems of whale lice, barnacles, and cyanid crustacean, and each pattern is unique to the individual, functioning as a fingerprint. Our subject is simultaneously an apex animal and a mobile reef system. No other entry on this list doubles as a habitat for other species in quite the same way. The name is a grim audit note. Whalers classified this species as the right whale to hunt because its extraordinary blubber content causes the carcass to float after death. In the economy of 19th century whaling, a whale that sank was a financial loss. We record this without admiration. It also holds the record for the largest testes of any animal on Earth, approximately 500 kilograms per individual. This is an evolutionary investment in sperm competition. Rather than fight physically for mates, males compete reproductively. The biology is objectively more efficient than combat. We commend the logistics. Entry number 9, Shastosaurus sicaniensis. Mass estimate 75 to 85 tons. Length 21 meters. And this animal is not a whale. It is an ichthyosaur, a marine reptile from the late Triassic, approximately 210 million years before the present. Its jaws are remarkably small relative to its body size. Current evidence supports suction feeding. It generated negative oral pressure to draw soft-bodied cephalopods directly into its mouth without biting. It did not hunt, it vacuumed. The skeleton recovered from British Columbia is long and relatively slender, a hydrodynamically efficient column of bone that traded raw bulk for reach. At 75 to 85 tons, it sits at the lower boundary of this list, but its phylogenetic significance is substantial. It is the largest non-cetacean, non-fish vertebrate in the ocean record. Evolution's first serious attempt at a self-propelled vacuum cleaner, scaled to the dimensions of a narrow-body commercial aircraft. The concept was shelved for 210 million years. Entry number 8, Auditus megalodon. Mass estimate 65 to 100 ton. And here the audit must perform a correction that popular media has resisted for decades. The image most people carry, a scaled-up great white shark, sleek and torpedo-shaped, is not supported by current metabolic modeling. Megalodon was a regional endotherm, meaning it maintained elevated body temperature above ambient water temperature. To sustain that thermoregulation at this scale required a massive digestive tract. The body was not a torpedo, it was a cylinder, wide-gutted, deep-chested, built to process large volumes of blubber-rich cetacean tissue. It was closer in cross-section to a robust tuna than to a modern white shark. The bite force audit, 40,000 pounds of force, approximately 178,000 newton, the highest calculated in the verified fossil record. The teeth reach 18 centimeters. Feeding events on large baleen whales were not surgical, they were geological. If you arrived here expecting the summer blockbuster version, this is the wrong department. Entry number 7, Physeter macrocephalus, the sperm whale. Confirmed mass, up to 80 tons for large male. We must address the head before anything else, because the head is an engineering project unto itself. 1/3 of this animal's body length is skull. Within that skull sits the spermaceti organ, containing up to 1,900 liters of waxy oil, which functions as a bioacoustic lens, focusing and amplifying sound to 230 decibels. That is the loudest confirmed biological sound on Earth. At sufficient proximity, it is not merely audible, it is physically incapacitating to prey. At 2,000 meters depth, ambient pressure exceeds 200 atmospheres. The sperm whale's ribcage is not rigid. It collapses, expelling air from the lungs and preventing nitrogen saturation of the blood. It does not get the bends because it has structurally adapted to be compressed and to survive the compression. It is the only animal on this list that actively hunts other large predators, giant and colossal squid, in complete pressurized darkness. It possesses the largest brain on Earth and deploys it hunting invertebrates while inverted in the midnight zone. We classify this as extremely efficient niche specialization. Entry number 6, Ichthyotitan severnensis. Mass estimate 90 to 110 ton. Body length, approximately 25 meters. This entry carries a specific annotation. It is recent, formally described in the mid-2020s from jawbone fragments recovered on the Somerset coast of England. Ichthyotitan is the first reptile in the fossil record to credibly enter the 100-ton mass category. The size estimate derives from the cerangular bone, a segment of the lower jaw, scaled against better preserved ichthyosaur specimen. The result, 25 meters, making it the largest confirmed reptile in Earth's history. It lived during the late Triassic, immediately before the end Triassic mass extinction that eliminated approximately 76% of marine species. It was the final iteration of the giant marine reptile body plan. Before that entire lineage was removed from the ledger, a 25-meter reptile that makes Tyrannosaurus rex look like a garden ornament. Evolution did not give it time to appreciate the distinction. Entry number 5, Balena mysticeta, the bowhead whale. Confirmed mass, up to 100 ton. This animal's most significant feature is not its size, it is its refusal to die. Bowhead whales live in excess of 200 years, confirmed by the recovery of 19th century stone harpoon tips from living individuals. Whaling attempts from the 1800s simply failed, and the animals carried the evidence forward for over a century. The genomic explanation: duplicated genes for DNA repair, tumor suppression, and cell cycle regulation. The precise systems that, when they fail in other mammals, produce cancer. At this scale, those failures have been architecturally prevented. The blubber measures 43 centimeters thick, the greatest insulation recorded in any living animal. The skull is reinforced and arch-shaped to break through 20 centimeters of Arctic sea ice from below. Breathing access in the Arctic must sometimes be created rather than found. This animal was likely alive when Darwin published. It has had considerable time to assess the theory. We have not been able to obtain a statement. Entry number 4, Eubalena japonica, the North Pacific right whale. Confirmed mass, 100 tons at just 18 meters in length. The fin whale, which we will reach shortly, is 27 meters and weighs 114 tons. Expressed as mass per meter, the North Pacific right whale is approximately twice as dense. It is not a whale so much as a biological sphere with navigational intent. It is a skim feeder, mouth open, moving slowly forward, filtering copepods less than a millimeter in length through 2.5-meter baleen plates. It does not lunge. It does not chase. The ocean does the work. Current population, approximately 400 individuals. That is not a regional count. That is the entire species. 100 tons of mass does not confer invulnerability to human industry, and this entry stands as the audit's most sobering data point. Entry number 3, Balaenoptera physalis, the fin whale. Confirmed mass, 114 ton. Length, up to 27 meters. The second longest animal in the verified biological record. Where the right whale trades speed for density, the fin whale has made the opposite arrangement entirely. The body is a V-shaped hull, narrow at the rostrum, deep through the thorax, built for sustained velocity. It reaches 40 kilometers per hour, the greyhound of the sea. To move 114 tons at that speed requires cardiovascular output exceeding the power rating of most high-performance automobile engines. One anatomical detail warrants a formal entry. The jaw is white on the right side, dark on the left. During lunge feeding, the fin whale rolls right and the white jaw flashes upward into the bait ball from below, disrupting the school's cohesion. It is a biological lure, integrated directly into the face. High-speed transit, asymmetric predation optics, supercar-grade cardiac output, fueled entirely by centimeter-long crustacean. Entry number 2, Perucetus colossus. A correction is required before we proceed. The 2023 initial estimate proposed up to 340 tons, which would have placed this animal above the blue whale and ended the debate entirely. Our revised records do not support that figure. Updated modeling produces an estimate of approximately 150 tons. We record the correction without prejudice. The original researchers were working from incomplete data. What is not contested is the bone structure. Perucetus exhibits extreme pachyostosis, bones with no marrow cavities, entirely solid throughout. In a 38-million-year-old Eocene cetacean, this is without precedent in its severity. The functional logic is ballast. The dense skeleton anchored a slow, wide-bodied animal to the shallow coastal seafloor of what is now Peru, where it likely grazed or scavenged without expending energy on buoyancy management. The body plan resembles a massively enlarged manatee. It did not pursue prey. At 150 tons of negatively buoyant mass, pursuit was not the strategy. An underwater bowling ball with a vestigial tail. We submit this to the record without further comment. Entry number 1, Balaenoptera musculus, the blue whale. Confirmed maximum mass, 190 metric ton. Length, 33 meters. This is not a close competition. The blue whale is the largest animal in the confirmed biological record, living or extinct. Nothing across 540 million years of complex animal life has been verified at greater mass. The aorta has an internal diameter wide enough for a small child to pass through. The heart weighs 180 kilograms, roughly the dimensions of a compact vehicle, and at rest beats as few as 8 times per minute, dropping to 2 during deep dives. The cardiac range required to sustain this animal across its full behavioral envelope is, by any engineering standard, remarkable. Lunge feeding is the single most energetically demanding event in the animal kingdom. The blue whale accelerates, opens its jaws to 90 degrees, and engulfs a volume of water exceeding its own body volume in one motion. The throat pleats expand from chin to navel to accommodate the intake. The water is expelled through baleen. What remains? Approximately 500 kilograms of krill per lunge. The mass itself is a fuel strategy. Gorge in polar waters through summer, accumulate reserves, migrate to equatorial breeding grounds, and live off stored energy for months. The body is not an end in itself. It is a fuel tank with fins. The audit is complete. What the ledger shows is consistent across all 10 entries. Oceanic mass is not about dominance or spectacle. It is about solving logistical problems that smaller bodies cannot solve. Thermoregulation across vast migration, pressure resistance at crushing depths, caloric extraction from prey measured in millimeters. Every ton on this list is justified by a specific biological return. From the Triassic vacuum of Shastasaurus to the lunge-feeding precision of the blue whale, the ocean has always rewarded those organisms for whom size is a solution rather than an indulgence. If you value data over drama, subscribe to Remain on the Record. And one question for the comment: which entry on this list is most underrated by popular science? Not the largest, the most overlooked. The file is closed.